We'll call the regular council meeting of Monday, May 15th to order. We'll start with the acknowledgement of treaties of peace and friendship. We would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is traditional unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq peoples. This territory is covered by the treaties of peace and friendship, which will list away Mi'kmaq and Passamaquoddy peoples first signed with the British Crown in 1726. The treaties did not deal with surrender of lands and resources, but in fact recognized Mi'kmaq and Wolastoqey title and established the rules for what was to be an ongoing relationship between nations. Thank you. Walalam. Next is the oath of office. We do hereby accept the office of council, will diligently, faithfully, and impartially discharge to the best of our ability the duties of the office as may be imposed upon us by law. Next is the adoption of the agenda. Are there any additions? Oh, sorry. Yes. Excuse me, I passed the moment of reflection. So before I get to the agenda, we'll have the moment of reflection. And Councillor Carmichael, do you have those names in front of you?
Yes, Eileen Guitar from Beldoon.
So we'll take a moment for reflection. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Carmichael. Next is the adoption of the agenda. Do we have any additions or changes?
If I may, Your Worship, I passed out to each member of council some paintings and a book. I am not bringing forward a motion. I am only bringing it forward because of the time that we're looking at over the summer. But with that said, I wanted to bring this forward for council's consideration, and I'll bring that information forward. Council has no objection. As I say, I will not be bringing forward a motion on any of this, just the information.
Is everyone okay with that? Okay. I think yeah, that's fine. We'll have the adoption of the agenda with the amendment, with the addition. If I get a motion.
M 2023-05-15-96, that the agenda be adopted with the changes.
Can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. Next is the adoption of minutes. Can I get a motion?
M 2023-05-15-97, that the minutes of the Committee of Whole Council meeting of April 3rd, 2023, and the regular meeting of April 15th of 2023 be adopted as presented.
Can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. Business arising from the minutes. We don't have any presentations or petitions. CEO Lee.
Sorry, just real briefly, I don't think that this is anything that needs to be actioned, but we did receive a note. Councillor Bork, one of the Port of Beldoon reports that was provided indicated that they were heading to Rotterdam, Germany, but it was actually Rotterdam in the Netherlands. It's in Holland. So I don't think that there's anything that needs to be done on that. Maybe if we correct the report or something behind the scenes.
Okay, thank you. Next then is the statements of by members of council. Deputy Mayor Carmichael.
I just want to bring to everybody's attention that the UMNB conference this year will be November 24th to the 26th, and at the Delta. For the councilors that would be interested to attend, there will be a motion to name the councilors and pre-approve a per diem in the next council meeting. Registration and hotel booking will only be available towards the end of July.
So I guess that will take a motion.
The reason that I want to bring it up tonight is because we have no meetings in May and June. So I just want to give a heads up, like that everybody knows if they they know the dates so that they can decide if they would like to attend or not. I don't think we need a motion today. I believe the motion will only be in the near future.
Counselor Robinson?
Yeah, so we're looking at revamping the summer day camp programs. Daryl Land and I have been working on that. One of the things that we discussed, I think both last year and the year before, was hiring an adult supervisor to oversee the entire operations and to supervise the kids and the students, student employees. So we're just looking at a motion for that. So it'll be motion 2023-05-1598 that the Council of Baldoon hires a temporary casual employee for a 7-week term to oversee the summer camp program.
Can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. Administration reports.
The first item that I have is for the regional pool study. Council has been provided with all of the information. We do have a couple different motions that are available for council, whether or not we want to commit the full amount. There was recognition on the part of the Regional Service Commission that this did come along a little bit later after budgets had been made, and it makes it difficult to you know, when you've already executed on your budget and running that. So we'll leave it to council's discretion if there's any discussion that you want to have on it. Ultimately, they do have a number that has been provided by their cost sharing formula. If there is a symbolic donation that you'd like to make, that's also an option. Alternatively, just providing a letter of support for this study is also acceptable.
Council, what's your preference?
If I may, Your Worship, you know, it's, I guess it's a difficult discussion to have, but I guess in all honesty, we should have it sooner than later. And by that, I mean this. Our budget has been passed and approved by members of council, which is fine. We have had some highly unexpected invoices that are going to be addressed in the very near future. You know, we are looking at adding a few bodies to be able to get work done over the summer internally, which adds to our cost. And some of them have been budgeted and some of it hasn't been budgeted. But my point is this, you know, we have had conversations concerning, you know, our budget. Our budget is something that, yes, we can be over budget, and yes, we can be under budget. You know, for many, many years, the Village of Baldoon has been under budget, and the funding left over in that budget has gone into our capital fund. The last couple of years have been a lot more accurate with our budget, and it's only been, you know, I believe it was $10,000 or $20,000 left over that went into our capital fund at the end of this year, or sorry, at the end of 2022. But my point is that you know, we have some issues that we will need to be addressed. And I know I, for one, as a councillor, I do not want to see our budget being over, because if it is over, we will be required to carry that expenditure over into 2025's budget. In other words, if we were $50,000 over on our budget, we will start 2025 at $50,000 in the hole. You know, so with that said, I would like to maybe give a directive to our CAO that, you know, when you look at the expenditure that we have, for example, and, you know, I don't like picking on it, but I will. You know, when we talk about the Rorty Point Road, at $265,000 in our budget for 2023. I would like maybe for council to consider reducing that budget to be sure that we are not in a negative position at the end of this year. My recommendation would be probably $100,000. That way there, we would have enough to be able to make sure that we have a balanced budget at year end. But, that's a decision of council and a directive of council. But it is something I believe we need to look at and evaluate so that, I'll say it this way, so that we're not tying the CAO's hands when he's looking for funding to be able to do these projects that we're looking to get done. I have no problem with the project of moving ahead, but I think we need to reconsider the value of that project for 2023 and maybe extend it into 2024 and 25. That way there, it's not having the major impact on our budget that it may have. So I'm throwing that out there, and at the end of the day, I look at this and I say we need to consider all of the options we have. We have several requests even this evening for funding, some of it, large amounts. With that said, I'm just asking council to look closely at how we're going to approach this, and if we're going to approve expenditures that were not budgeted for, we need to be sure that we're finding the funding to be able to finance them. Because as I mentioned earlier, I for one do not want to start a year in a negative position. So for your consideration.
Thank you for that. For me, I don't want to back off of Rhodey's Road. I'd like to see it done. We had the options of another, not paving it, but going with the seal. To cut $100,000, we wouldn't be able to do it because of the simple reason is that that's the price we got, the grant amount. Yes, and I realize I'm concerned about the budget too, because there's numbers in there that we need to look at. I think we need to relook at our budget to see where we're at, if it's at all possible, and see, and I don't like not to agree to these fundings because these studies, because we may need their help down the road for funding and for certain projects that we would want to have done. But I'm not ready to back away from Rhodey's Road. I'm just maybe looking at another avenue and, maybe we can find the money elsewhere in the budget, or we can do the press seal, or I don't know what other council feels about this, but I would like to get it done. We've been talking about this since we're in. I would love to see it paved. That would be my number one. Unless we pave part way this year and then do the rest another year. But I think that these projects, if you do them all at once, it's a better thing to do. So yeah, that's my take on that.
As far as the pool study, I agree with Councillor Carmichael that it is something that, although I would like to support, because, like you say, we may need help with funding. We have had a lot of unexpected expenses this year with that were not budgeted for. As far as Rhodey's Road goes, I find it confusing that when council had the discussion on that road, council was leaning towards chip sealing it, and it was because of Councillor Burke's speech about you have to spend money to improve things and yada yada. It was because of his guidance that we chose to go with pave instead. So it's the one thing that we've actually budgeted for and planned for that we are supposed to be seeing through to the end. So I wish that, you would have had this train of thought whenever we were looking to fund private events at the taxpayer's expense. But as far as Rhodey Road, I believe that should have been seen to long ago. In fact, I think you were the mayor that paved the portion of it that is already paved. And I think it's someplace that the entire village can enjoy. So, yeah, but that's totally off topic. For this, it's for the pool. And although I would like to be able to support them, I don't feel that at this time, considering our budget and the other expenses we have right now, that it would be a good time to do that. As far as a letter, I have no problem submitting a letter of support.
Okay, so is it the letter of support that the majority of council wishes, or is there another option of the other two?
I would also agree with the letter of support, definitely right now. And in the future, like if they come back to us, we'll see where we are, and then we'll take it from there. But the letter of support is my direction
Okay.
right now.
So that seems to be the most popular option tonight. Could we get, if no one else wants to speak to it, can we get a motion then to choose that particular option?
Motion 2023-05-15-99, that the Village of Baldoon agree to provide a letter of support indicating they are in favor of the study.
Can I get a seconder
I'll second it.
on the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. Next is 7.1.2, CL Lee.
Very similar idea here. Again, a regionalized study that they're looking to have done. This one might be a little bit more conducive to Baldoon's strategies and different ideas on where we want to go as a municipality. However, the concept being the same. This one here, the motion is drafted. It's kind of a chicken and egg thing here where they don't have, they're looking for engagement from the municipalities to support the housing study, and they have not engaged they don't have a cost associated to it. So what we've done is we've worded the motion, and again, it can follow same suit as the previous motion. If there is the amount is no more than the amount that's captured in the motion. If there is a symbolic donation that council is looking to make, then that's also an opportunity, or supporting the study with a letter. Again, this is this one here, to reiterate, is hinged on some funding coming in as a region. So there are components to everyone being involved. But at this point, we do not have a firm number from the planning, or excuse me, from the Regional Service Commission. They won't have that until they're able to engage the study to be done. And really, ultimately, it's kind of a timing thing. It's really, they're moving it along very quickly because there is funding available out there. So they're trying to execute on a couple different things at the same time. So I'll leave that to council to discuss.
Does anyone on council wish to address the motion?
Oh, I just wanted to ask, so there is no set price for us to be included in this?
There's not a set price in the sense of that they don't have the cost of a study. They're gauging their price based on other municipalities and the ballpark figure that they anticipate for it to be. So yes, there is a cost sharing. It's the same formula that's been used. Anytime that you get something from the Regional Service Commission, they generally use the cost sharing formula. So right now, no, they don't have the cost of the study to be done. They're basing it off of similar areas of similar size and the involvement. So that's where their estimate is coming from. The number that we have in the motion is no more than $7,500. They are expecting a Baldoon contribution to be closer to around $6,000 when the time comes. Unfortunately, right now, they do not have that set price. They're basing it on, I believe, Edmundston's program. So that's why they don't exactly have the exact number right now.
This is a study that I'm in favor of us being involved in, for sure.
Anyone else?
I just want to confirm that, so based on the information that I've received from you, in order to apply for any funding to help with housing in our community, we need to do this study. So our options are either to team up and cost share to get the study done, or bear the entire cost on our own. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. We would, and looking at the numbers and for Baldoon's size, Our expectation, and again, we haven't gone down this path yet, but our expectation would be for the contribution amount that we're making, we're likely not going to be able to get a study done for that size. Furthermore, just to make sure that council is aware, this is the regional study that's done, for the whole, for the Chaleur region. We'll also need to do a bit of an assessment plan on our own that goes along with this study. So we can look at different avenues for that down the road. But this is, as Councillor Corrier said, this is the first step that we would need to do.
Anyone else? All right, can we have a mover for the motion?
M 2023-05-15-100, that the Village of Beldoon agrees to participate in a regional housing study with a contribution of no more than $7,500, with the condition that the other municipalities also commit to participating.
Can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the motion, or on the question, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. 7.1.3.
For this item, we are going through a transition, as council is well aware, with administration, and there are some gaps that we need to make sure that we have filled. So we've taken the steps to ensure that the day-to-day critical processes are being met. And we do have a very good grasp on that. One of the concerns that we did have was around general bookkeeping and invoicing that we need to have a temporary measure in place for. So we have done some work with Allen, Paquette, and Arsenault, who are engaged as our municipal auditing firm. There is a service that they can provide to us on a temporary basis where they will do our general bookkeeping for us. By sending up a person on site for beginning 2 days a week and having that weaned down to 1 day a week and then only available for the hours that we require them for. Allen, Paquette, and Arsenault has provided an engagement letter with all of the information in that. And we have a motion in place. If we would like to engage APA for this, they will require a motion of council to do that.
Anyone wish to speak to it? And can I get a motion, can I get a mover for the motion?
M 2023-05-15-101, that the Village of Beldoon agrees to engage in Allen, Paquette, and Arsenault for the temporary municipal bookkeeping.
Can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. 7.1.4.
This motion is subject to the Bathurst Airport presentation that was made by Jamie DeGrasse at the last council meeting. There was a donation request made to the Village of Beldoon to help support the Bathurst Airport. There was some information that was asked for by council, and I did put that information out relatively recently. So hopefully council did have a chance to view that. If there are further questions, we do have some time on this one. I don't think that this one is necessarily as critical as for a timeline. So there was different options that Mr. DeGrasse had provided to us. Again, the requested amount can be amended. They're obviously looking for any sort of support that they can find. So it's not necessarily the amount that was requested that needs to be agreed to. But I'll again leave that to council.
Council? Yeah, unless we have, does anyone want to speak to it? Okay,
Read first.
yep.
M 2023-05-15-102, that the Village of Beldoon provides $10,000 grant to the Bathurst Airport.
Can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. 7.1.5.
This one is subject to the Beldoon Days fireworks. I apologize. I really don't have a whole lot of information on this one outside of the invoice that was sent in and requiring a motion to have that approved. I'm not sure if the events committee might be able to speak to it a little bit. But yeah, I'll leave that, Greg.
I'll just speak on that. In the past, the fireworks had a 3-year agreement with the village every year for Beldoon Days. Well, they no longer do that. They want to do it on a yearly basis. So normally it does cost roughly around that. It went up a little bit, but it's the fireworks for Beldoon Days, and it's the biggest event that we carry. So that's the average price of it yearly, and that's all it is. Now they want it done on a yearly basis as opposed to a 3-year agreement.
Anyone?
Yeah, that normally comes out of the event committee anyway, their budget. So that's already budgeted with the event committee.
All right, so do we have a mover?
M 2023-05, 15-03, that the Village of Beldoon hire Fireworks FX Inc. for the Beldoon Days fireworks display at the cost of $12,000.
Can I get a seconder? On the question?
I have something about that. I know I love fireworks like everyone else, and it's going to be an unpopular position, but I know we've had requests in the village before about eliminating the fireworks from the Beldoon Days roster, and I think probably we could find a replacement for that. I know there's really nice drone shows that don't terrify animals, and there are a lot of horses, a lot of animals in the village. They're an environmental issue as well. So I'm just hoping that eventually we'll replace the fireworks with a different type of spectacle, you know? I think they're kind of a thing of the past now.
I know, I had mentioned that last year, that, opposition is coming forward for the fireworks. So we are looking for alternatives. We're open, but we need something to replace it that's going to have that same wow factor. So any input would be wonderful. But at this point, the fireworks are booked for this year.
I think you should really look at the drone shows. They've done them for the Olympics. They do huge displays, a lot of them more spectacular than the fireworks, actually. So it's something maybe to consider, is to look at some of the drone shows, and they're available at Atlantic Canada.
All right, so then to the motion, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. 7.1.6.
I think this is my last item. I hope it's my last item. As I alluded to earlier, we are going through a transition in administration, and I would like to put over to council a request for canceling the committee of whole and regular council meetings for June and July of this year. Potentially August as well, depending on, I'd like to kind of get going a little bit with some of our strategy, and then I'll have a better idea of how we look closer to that date. But for now, if council would consider June and July the canceling of the summer meetings, I do feel that would give us a little bit of space to be able to look at the different solutions that we have in place, and allow us a little bit of time to execute on that.
M 2023-05, 15-104, that the Village of Beldoon cancel scheduled committee of whole and regular council meeting for the months of June and July 2023.
Can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question?
Okay, negative Nelly tonight. I'm not a big fan of canceling potentially 3 consecutive months of meetings, so I don't know if we could proceed with the June and then look at July and August. I know that we do have some things on, coming our way, like that need to be, I don't like special meetings. I hate them. So I don't know, I think if we could consider keeping June and then canceling July and August.
Yeah, from my perspective, any breathing room you give me will be appreciated. And I do appreciate that the special meetings are, and just to reiterate to council, that was the intent, is that we could call a special meeting. I kind of like them because they're a little bit more, you can work around people's schedules with them. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think what we're asking for here is any type of breathing room that we can get to be able to do that, I'm definitely open to. But yeah, and I, just for the record, I don't like to council meetings either. I felt terrible asking for this, but there was just, there's a lot going on right now. So, but yeah, no, absolutely. Whatever council is willing to provide, we'll take.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
we have a motion on the table.
I feel that we need the June and July, we need people trained. So I agree, June and July, but if something happens in the process that we need to schedule it, perhaps we could schedule it on a regular meeting time, the committee of whole, a regular meeting, because we all know those meetings are there. So, yeah, for now, I wouldn't mind canceling both, because I know we need the time and the breathing time.
All right, well, let's get to the vote and see what happens. All those in favor of the motion, say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion passed. Okay, so, are you doing the clerk, treasurer? CEO Lee's going to do the financial reports.
Just a note on the financial support so that council is familiar. There are a lot of reports that were provided in this section on the agenda. Going through the learning curve that we're going through here, not all of these reports are actually mandated. Council has the opinion on what needs to be included and what doesn't need to be included. So the sort of the system that we have right now is what it's evolved to over, it's sort of the genesis of it is resulted in all of these reports. If there's some there that council does not want, or if there's some there that council would like to see, we do have an opportunity to sort of change the structure on how we're doing things right now. So absolutely feel free to reach out and provide your feedback. I'll probably in the next few days be putting out an email just so that council is aware of that and to get some feedback on that. Having said that, I'm going to run through the general operating. So with cash investments, we have deposits of $2,035.23. We have e-transfer payments of $526.25. PNB direct deposit of $379,403.58. The arena cash deposits come in at $2,333. The e-transfers for the arena are at $391.50, and the interest revenue is at $3,490.10. On the outs, we have checks issued from April 1st, 2023 at $302,063.72. AP direct payment of $7,929.69. A direct payment to SNB of $23. A direct payment to workers comp at $1,165.04. We have banking charges at $230. We have a transfer to the general capital reserve of $20,000. We have a transfer to the utility operating fund of $1,167.22. Transfer to the utility operating reserve of $196.90, and a transfer to the gas tax fund of $51,042. Outstanding checks we have at $49,052.32. And, outstanding checks for March 2023, and outstanding checks for April 2023 at $179,893.81.
Any questions or comments for CEO Lee on that? Okay, general correspondence? Oh, sorry, yes, go ahead.
M 2023-05-15-105, that the financial report be accepted as presented and the accounts payable be paid.
Can we get a seconder for that?
I'll second it.
Nay, motion passed for the financial reports. Do we have general correspondence, CEO Lee? Yes, okay.
We do. The correspondence in, we have the SBCA report for April 2023. We have the municipal review statistics for Q1 of 2023, and we have the Atlantic Railway Maintenance Report for May 2023. We do not have correspondence. We do have correspondence out. We have the appointment to the Shallore Bay Watershed Group. We have the support to the Shallore Bay Watershed Group, and we have the 2023 auditor appointment.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak to any of those? Okay, if not, there's no motion attached to that, I don't believe. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
If I may, Your Worship, it was just, I believe you just missed where I'd asked to add to the agenda. You know, if I may, just prior to asking for adjournment, if I may.
Sorry, I apologize.
Okay. I was approached by an individual within the community to look for some assistance for Veta Falls. Veta Falls is a well-known author in our area. She has written many books. You know, she's updating a book that has to do with the Jacket River and Beldoon and surrounding area. You know, just to touch base so that people are aware of what it, you know, what's in the book. You know, it says here, for example, this book, as well as the previous volumes of The Way It Was Along My Bay, contains the results of a collection of family records, stories, and photos given to me by descendants of our first settlers. I thank each one of you for your contribution and trust in me. Now, she also puts in there how the book is recognized. It wasn't until August 2022 that I was reminded of the fact that the original version of my Volume 1, The Way It Was Along My Bay, was included among the items buried in a time capsule on the Fredericton Green in the year 2000, not to be opened for 100 years. It was a millennium project intended to honor women's accomplishments. Since this book told the stories of two natives of Restigouche County, it has the honor to be included. They were Dr. Kathleen Kate McMillan of Jacket River and Nurse Annie Kelly Beatty Dumphy of Nash Creek, New Brunswick. Their remarkable stories are repeated in this version of Volume 1. So my point to that was Veta Falls has done a history, and I did give a copy of some paintings to everyone, and this is just an example of it. This is basically the station in Beldoon here. It was painted by Veta Falls, and she has a collection of, I didn't count them, but it has to be somewhere around 50 paintings that she wishes that she would like to donate to the village of Beldoon so that they can be preserved and the history of our community is preserved. They're all photos of, you know, the old Beldoon schools and the Archibald schools and the first, some of the well-known houses, farmhouses within our community over the years. So those paintings are to be donated to the village and for saving of our culture and understanding. As far as the book is concerned, she's looking at updating the book. It's a revised version. At the end of the day, she's looking for assistance in financing that. You know, I do know that we have money available under our grant policy type thing. So I brought this only for council's consideration and interest so that you will have time over the summer to maybe evaluate how you feel, get a little more information maybe from the people involved. You know, at the end of the day, for me personally, I am a big believer that, you know, this is a dying art within most communities, that the culture of their communities are being lost because the elders and the experiences and the knowledge that they have are not being preserved in a manner it should be. So I'm asking council to consider this over the summer. I will be bringing forth a motion in the meeting, I'm going to assume in the month of August, looking for some funding and seeing what kind of funding is available, how much money we do have in our grant fund and things of that nature. So the motion will be made based on, how I see that and what I believe is fair and, that type of thing. So with that said, I'm going to finish it right there. I'm hoping council will consider it and, look forward to see the results.
Thank you. If there's nothing else, then we'll have a motion to adjourn.
M 2023-05-15-106, that the meeting is adjourned at 7:41.
Can we get a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. Meeting adjourned.